welcome to this episode of Raising Noir Twins. So in this episode, I want to talk to you about a documentary that I just watched called Not Just a Name. And it's a documentary that was directed by Deanna Young Stevens, and she's actually a Student Academy Award winner for this documentary. And I wanted to talk about it because it actually, kind of brought up some old memories or some old emotions or experiences that I didn't even realize I had until I watched it. And so basically what it's talking about, or what it's about, is it kind of goes through the stigma and the bias of that African Americans go through in regards to their unique names, people that have unique names, right? And Deanna, she has an apostrophe and a capital letter in her name, very similar to how mine is, right? And so when she was talking about her experience, and she kind of goes through it and says how she at some point dropped the apostrophe and just, kept it as one name, Deanna, no apostrophe, no capital O or anything like that. And coming to the realization that, the significance of her name was really to pay homage to her grandparents. And so once she came to that realization, she started using the apostrophe again and spelling her name correctly, the way that it was given to her. And so that really resonated with me because as a child, I never really understood why it was spelled that way. And I know, most people be like, well, why didn't you just ask? Well, when I was a kid, to me, it wasn't important, right? And so I remember in school, like in elementary school, and even really kind of leading up until high school, sometimes I would use the apostrophe and sometimes I wouldn't. To me, it just wasn't important. It didn't have a significance to me or whatever. But I remember one time in elementary school that kids were had asked me about it. Why do you have that in your name? And it wasn't, I don't think it was them being malicious or mean or anything. It was just curious because I'm trying to think, I don't think nobody in my classroom had it or whatever. And so, but the only answer that I could give them was, I don't know. I didn't know, and then we probably ran off and played tetherball or something, and never really revisited that. I just didn't, like I said, I never went and asked my parents about it at that age or anything. And so moving forward, when I got to my late years in high school and definitely in college, I started spelling my name correctly and started correcting people when they mispronounced my name. Because one, let me just say, my name is Nichelle. For those of you that don't know and that don't follow me on social media, it's spelled N-E apostrophe capital C-H-E-L-L. And so my name comes from my two older sisters' middle names put together. So one is Nicole and the other is Michelle. Therefore you get Nichelle, right? And so just to kind of give you back history on how that came to be, both of my parents had children before they got married, right? And so once they got married, my mother had miscarriages. I want to say maybe 2. I know for sure 1. And the doctor told her that she wouldn't be able to have any more children, right? But hey, here I am. And so, giving me their middle names kind of just brought the family, I guess, kind of tied the family together and completed the family, And so after realizing that, I was just I kind of play an important role in this family, and I'm just over here just oh, whatever, my name's this, whatever, it doesn't mean anything, But now, after I had realized that, and come to terms with it, I was just you know what, nah, y'all ain't just gonna be calling me Michelle or any kind of thing. No, I'm gonna correct you. This is my name. This is how it's spelled. Whether that makes you uncomfortable or not, that's your problem. And you're gonna get it right. That's just that, right? And so, excuse me. And so, like I said, once I got into my late years in high school and college for sure, and moving forward, I've definitely been, I guess, not more accepting, because it wasn't that I was embarrassed of it. Like I said, I just didn't know the significance of it, the importance of it. And so, and I feel like me now, as an adult and being comfortable with my name and how it's spelled and how you say it and all that stuff, it allowed me to be, like very comfortable and not even thinking twice about giving my girls very beautiful, unique names. And so, I guess with that being said, y'all stay tuned after this break, and I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all how we came up with the names, or actually how their father came up with the names, and why we decided on that. And so yeah, stay tuned so you can hear all about LaReine and Sirène's name. Alright, welcome back, y'all. So before the break, we were talking about the significance of my name, this documentary that I just watched called Not Just a Name, and how that allowed me to be really comfortable with giving my girls very beautiful, unique names. And so I want to share with you how they got those names, what they mean, and the significance of them. So just going to jump right into the story. So basically, we would go to our doctor's appointments, and this was just kind of like every time we had an appointment, we would do this. After we had just came from our doctor's appointment, the ultrasound and everything, seeing them just do their thing inside the womb, you know. And we went to go get a smoothie, and because we usually would go get a smoothie and we'd go for a walk on the beach and like talk about, you know, what life was going to be like with the girls and how we wanted to raise them, and you know, just looking forward to them being here, right? So, but before we got the smoothies, we were sitting in the parking lot and we're just talking a little bit. And at this time, obviously, we didn't have names yet. And so we had agreed to name one baby each, right? That's what we had agreed to. Now, my names that I have always had, I always said that I would name, if I had girls, was Nia and Imani. And so Nia, because I felt like, you know, if I had children, it was for a purpose, and that, or they would lead me to my purpose in some way, right? And Imani, because, you know, with faith, anything is possible. And so those were always like my names. Their dad made it very clear, very vocal, that he didn't care too much for those names, right? And so as we're sitting here in the parking lot, about to get our smoothies, and he's like, I have the names, like the names came to me. So I was kind of annoyed when he said names, because I'm like, okay, that's plural. You're only supposed to come up with one, like, you know. But anywho, I'm like, okay, like, I'm gonna hear him out kind of thing. But he said, like, while we were in the doctor's office and seeing them with the ultrasounds and everything, that he was like, the names just came to me. And he's like, they sound the same, because I didn't want matchy names. I did not want that at all. And so he was like, they sound the same, but they're spelled differently and they have completely different meanings. And so he proceeded to tell me that in Haitian Creole and French, that La Reine means the queen. And in Haitian Creole French, that Sirène means mermaid or sea goddess of the sea, right? And so for him, it was just like, you know, La Reine would be the queen of the land and Sirène would be the queen of the sea, and together they can rule and do anything. They'll be unstoppable. And I was just like, I like that. I really liked it, you know. And you know what, to be honest, y'all, even though I still believe that my names are really dope. I think they're beautiful and everything, but I'm so glad that we chose those names. I'm glad that he shared that with me, and I'm glad that that they're LaReine and Sirène, because they are definitely LaReine and Sirène. Like they've just grown into these names and their personalities. Like, we just went swimming the other day, and Sirène, which is the mermaid, right? So she's always loved water. Like, that's just always been her thing, right? But the other day we went swimming, I mean, sis was like laid out on her back, floating, eyes closed, like, I'm in my space, I'm in my happy place, like, nobody bothered me. And it was so cute to watch, but like, that's just her, you know? And then LaReine, you know, that's the queen, you know, queen of the lands, right? So she's so in tune, like, with nature. Like, she loves, and not saying that she doesn't like water, but she's not about to be in the water like Cece and like going under and like all this stuff, no. So with Lala, you'll find her like playing in the dirt, digging up rocks. You know, she'll bring you a couple bugs. You know, she's gonna ask about the trees and the leaves, and like, that's her thing. And so I was just like, oh wow, like, they are LaReine and Sirène, you know what I mean? And so that's how we came up with those names. And, you know, do I think at some point that they'll be embarrassed of those names? Not even a little bit, because it's important. I know what I kind of went through and experienced, not knowing the significance of my name. And so I definitely am making a point for them to know the significance of their names early on, And then, to be honest, like, their names is what really sparked me to write Woomates, because, I knew the chances of them finding their names in a little souvenir shop on a license plate or a magnet was very slim to none, right? They're not gonna find a lot of Sirène on there. They're just not. And so, but I would always think, like, how cool would it be for them to see their name on the cover of a published book, right? Like, you're gonna see your name, like, and I want people to know your name. I want people to know how beautiful it is and the significance of it. And so, anywho, that's how they got their name, and I love it, and I'm so thankful that I was open to it. And like I said, me coming to terms with my own name really was, I think, a reason why I was so open and so comfortable with the idea of giving them these beautiful names too. And so, yeah, if y'all have any unique names yourself, or your children do, or you've gone through the same or similar experiences, I would love to hear your story, how you came to terms with it, how you learned to accept it and embrace it. So if this is your first time tuning in, you may just stumbled upon this podcast and you don't know where to find me at, y'all can find me at Raising Noir Twins on YouTube, on Instagram and Facebook. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, so that way you can stay up on all the episodes that we have coming up. So again, hope y'all have a beautiful day, beautiful people. Peace.